As believers in Jesus, there is nothing that should cause a greater response of joy and bliss in our lives than knowing that we have the presence of God in our lives. And so for the past month, we've been taking a look at this topic of joy, defining what it is, that it's not just something that is dependent upon our emotions, but joy, because of the very presence of God in our lives, is a constancy. We've talked about how we can have joy in sometimes the really hard situations of life, right? Where we can know that because God's presence is with us, that no matter what we're facing, we can still have the joy of the Lord in us. Last week, we talked about a bunch of different reasons that we have for the joy being in us, inside of our hearts, and how it can move us, as we're going to talk about today, to the incredible response that we have. And I think when you open your Bibles and you join me in Psalm 100, we're going to see this morning or today, whenever you're taking a look at this video, an incredible act of worship. Because when we realize that the presence of God is with us, our response should be joyful worship. And so I want you to hear the words from the psalmist this morning, from Psalm 100, where he says this: "Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with singing. Know that the Lord, he is God. It is he who made us. We are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless his name, for the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations." And I can just resonate so much with what the psalmist is saying here, because you can just hear inside of the voice, as we're reading that passage, his excitement of knowing that's the surety of the presence of God in his life. And so I wanted to bring that to you today as we bring this series to a close, is saying this: when we take a look at all of the different reasons why we have joy in our life, what is God bringing to us? The value that he gives to us, the salvation that we experience, his person and work, where we see this promise that God has never left us. He will never forsake us, no matter what we are dealing with in this life. God is there, and it is a cause for joy to be welling up inside of my soul, in essence. And how do we now, in our personal lives, take that joy and reciprocate it to him? We do it in worship. And so as you're going throughout your day today, maybe you just say thank you to him. Maybe you celebrate. Maybe you sing. Maybe you write. Whatever it is, bring worship to God today, because he has caused us to overflow with joy. But I think there's one last thing that I want to bring to you today as we talk about joy. Because yes, our joy should reciprocate to God. But I got to tell you, there is somebody out there who absolutely hates it when a Christian experiences joy. And that is Satan himself. And one of the things that evil monster does is he tries to go into believers and figuring out, how can I rob their joy of walking in the Lord? How can I make life miserable for them? How can I just make this a little bit more difficult, or make life seem discouraging? And so, friends, I wanted to remind you of this today. And this is something that I think has really transformed how I seek after God as well, is that when we are reciprocating our joy to the Lord through worship, I think that is one of the biggest defenses from Satan being able to rob our joy. So don't allow your joy to be robbed. But friends, remember that because of the presence of God in our lives, we have every reason to have joy. A joy which transcends circumstances, because we know the one whom we trust. And so I'm praying you have a great day today. I'm praying you have a joy-filled day today. I'm looking forward to worshiping with many of you as we just seek God's presence through this Lenten season, so that we can celebrate the joy of Easter together, the fact that God came to this earth to die for us, but that death couldn't hold him, the grave could not keep him. He rose again on that third day, on Easter Sunday, and that is the greatest cause of joy that we could ever have. So I look forward to celebrating you. Have a great day, everyone.